Welcome to Climate Curious Quickies, bite-sized nuggets of climate goodness from our TEDx experts in under 10 minutes.
In this week's Climate Curious, we're going behind the scenes on one of the most wildly successful climate campaigns in history. We asked the question, how do you help a grassroots movement scale up into an operation capable of taking on big coal? Our guest this week is powerhouse lawyer Bruce Nilles. At our recent Climate Curious Live, he tells the story of meeting former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who asked him one simple question that changed everything. What would it take to win? On the power of big bets and how they helped shutter 390 coal plants across the United States and keep them shut, here's Bruce Nilles. Stay curious.
So we were able to stop the new coal plants on a fairly shoestring budget. Bake sales and a bunch of others helping to support that work. But when we turned our attention to the existing coal plants, it was a whole different kettle of fish. People told us, again, it's impossible. Stopping new coal plants is one thing, because they never existed, and there's 10 permits, and if you stop one, you win. An existing coal plant is in a community, providing electricity with real workers and keeping the lights on. And so we had a lot of people say, well, that's fundamentally different. And it is harder. I don't want to minimize for a second. It's harder retiring and replacing an existing coal plant. So we started trying to test out, could we do it? And the answer was yes. We actually began to have some success, one here and one there. And then the question was, how do we scale it? Because we have 530, we've got to get going. This is an urgent problem. And so we were casting around for how do we scale this work? And that's when we met the former mayor of New York City, Michael Bloomberg. He had just launched an environmental program through his philanthropy, and he cared desperately about public health. So one of the things Michael Bloomberg is most famous for is when he was mayor of New York City, he wanted to understand why the kids who have asthma are concentrated in certain places. So he tested around the city, and it turned out they were on the major thoroughfares where all the damn trucks were. So it was the diesel trucks, same in most every city. And so he did amazing work and cared lots about and understood the impacts of health from burning of fossil fuels. Well, coal plants are just as bad, if not worse. And so we approached him. He initially was like, yeah, I'm not sure. It's the Sierra Club. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. Coal, I don't know anything about coal. But he's like, what could you do? But then he asked the most profound question of all, what would it take to win? Which no one had ever asked us. We'd been like, well, we can get one coal plant for this amount of money and two coal plants for that amount of money. He was like, no. What would it take to win? And that was just like this moment, like, what? Like, really? Like get rid of coal? And so then the hard part started because we had to answer that question from a guy who started a data company, and we spent 9 months. And to his credit, he sent over one of his top data analysts who sat down with us and analyzed every single coal plant in the United States. And not only each of the 530, but each of them had 2 or 3 boilers. So we analyzed 1,278 coal boilers. How old? Was it particularly dirty? What were its pollution controls? Was it living in a community where people had been complaining about air pollution and the regulators had never done anything? And so we were able to assess, and we had more data on the coal plant than anybody else in the United States by the time we were done. My head hurt, but it was profound. And we went back to him and said, all right, Mr. Mayor, you asked us, and the answer is we think we can get the first third of it shut down over the next 4 years. It will cost us $147 million. And he looked at us and said, okay, I'll give you 50. I'll help you raise 50. And you raised 47. So we did, and 4 years later, we had got 92% of those coal plants we promised to shut down.
I always think, see, this is my problem with fundraising, because I always think I would just be like, give us all of it then. You've got it. It's not like you don't have it, but fair. Good strategy. Well done. And what an incredible situation to find yourself in. I'm so interested in, like, when you had that conversation. Was it a phone call? Was it an email? Like, how did that happen? Face to face. So you sit face to face with this guy, the former mayor, and he says he'll give you 50 million. How drunk did you get?
I don't know if it gets on the final tape, but his answer was, and by the way, if I give it to you, don't fuck it up. I'm like, okay. Well, it was noon in New York City, so we walked out of his office, walked to the first bar, and had a couple of shots of tequila, and then we got to work. But it was also a profound moment because we were standing on the shoulders of all these people across the country who were super excited about doing something about these filthy coal plants, and now we had the resources to help. Yeah. And so it was like, oh, we caught the big fish. Now we need to land it.
Yeah. So what, tell us the rest of the
So, all right, so we landed the fish. So what was needed? Well, what was super interesting as we analyzed these coal plants is there was a ton of places where people actually wanted to do something. These were mayors in cities. These were neighbors living next to a coal plant. And they said, we want to do something about replacing this coal plant. It's been polluting our neighborhood too much, or we have climate goals and we want to cut pollution, or we want to invest in the future. We want clean technology in our community, not this outdated 19th century coal plant. And so the money was used for a variety of things needed to help them, empower them to get the things they needed in order to retire the coal plant. So in many places it was, well, how bad is the air pollution? So we hired modelers to go out and assess. Where was the pollution going? Where are the schools? Where's the hospital? Can we analyze the number of premature deaths from that coal plant? We hired lawyers and experts to engage in every regulatory proceeding relating to those coal plants. We went through the compliance record of every coal plant. If we found non-compliance, we either tried to negotiate before filing a lawsuit. If they wouldn't negotiate, we filed a lawsuit to bring them into compliance. We hired organizers to help educate the community about, you don't have to tolerate this filthy coal plant. There's a better future. Look what's happening around the country and around the world. And so it's that community by community, helping support them in whatever way was needed to be able to make the transition, retire their coal plant, and invest in cleaner, safer alternatives.
Thanks for listening to this quickie.
This episode was created by our superstar podcast team at TEDxLondon. Until next time,
stay curious.